And good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of Mauler'S Talk. My name is Ralph Williams. Those of you who are new to the show, we're here every Wednesday at 4:30 to talk Pittsburgh Maulers. Next week will be our last Mauler Talk show because the Maulers season will be over. Their last game is this Friday night, 8 p.m. on USA Network. I will be on at 7 p.m. with Mauler's pregame, and then I'll be on 10 minutes after the game with Mauler's postgame, give you all the synopsis of the Mauler's last game. The way things are looking right now, it could be a loss, and I'm not necessarily saying that to be true, but it could be. And the reason I say that is because lately the Maulers have not been playing well. And they got lucky and got their first win because the Houston Gamblers made 600 mistakes in that game, and the Maulers pulled it out by 1 point at the end of the game. One thing I will say about Kirby Wilson, he does not do, well, one thing I can say is he does not have very good clock management, good play calling, and he does not do anything good at all as a coach. All right, he's already alienated his players and a whole lot more. Now, Maulers are 1-6. They play New Jersey this Friday, as I mentioned. Okay, Vadley and Roland Rivers III struggled throughout the game. Between them, they only had 9 passes 9 for 23 in passing. That was it. 9 for 23 between two quarterbacks in passing. Don't forget your comment section's open as well. We do not have the phone lines open tonight. I'm in Studio B of Studio 808 here today. I don't have the appropriate hookup yet for a phone kind of thing here in Studio B. So that's where we are today. Anyway, quote Kirby Wilson. Now, see here, I want to quote Kirby Wilson this because he originally lied. I mean, he lied at the end of the game. First of all, he told the USFL when they did the when they had the sideline reporter. Okay, and here's Kirby Wilson's original line. He said he changed quarterbacks because he did not like the body language of Vadley. Okay? He didn't like his body language. So what happened was he decided that he was going to change quarterbacks. So he puts Roland Rivers III in. Okay? Now, here's what he said to the USFL at the post game or at the post game press conference. Now, he told the sideline reporter a whole different story, and then he goes and now see, this is why I don't like Kirby Wilson as a coach. Watch this. All right, here's the quoted line that he gave to the post game. It broke down to players sticking with strategy. Now, first you tell the sideline reporter that you took Vadley off the field, the quarterback of the Maulers, after you got rid of Josh Love. Okay, and and this is the type of stuff I'm talking about. He goes and gets rid of all these players, all right, and instead of trying to run this like a football team, he's running it like a prison school or something like that. Okay, with this Kirby Wilson, and this has gotten completely out of control here. And the sad part about all this is, I found out from someone that he's also not only just a coach, he's the GM. So whoever the owners are next year, there's going to be a local ownership. Whoever it's going to be, I don't know. Okay? If the Maulers make it to next year and we decide to have games here in Pittsburgh, I want to know if this ownership group's going to get rid of Kirby Wilson. They're going to have to, because if they don't, the Maulers are not going to win. And then the Maulers are not going to draw, and then the Maulers are going to go, bye-byes. Because I'm already talking to people here in Pittsburgh. They don't like it. My colleagues don't like it. The media colleagues that I have as media friends. In fact, some of them I'll be talking about what's going on tomorrow and tonight. Okay, but anyway, as I said before, all right, people bleed black and gold. All right, they don't bleed purple and white right now. All right, the Maulers have to build themselves up back a reputation in this town. They were horrible when they were here the last time, and now they're if they come back next year, no one knows and it has any answers as to what next year brings for the USFL. Are they going to come back with the same 8 teams, Or are the Maulers such a failure that they may not even bother to come back with a team? And will the Maulers find a place to play? The rumors I'm hearing, a high school venue like the Passion play in, some kind of venue. I've been hearing Highmark Stadium. But I don't think Highmark Stadium wants football there. They turned down the City League when the City League wanted to tear down Couple Stadium and sell it to real estate interest. I'll tell you about that plan later or some other time. All right. Okay, we're going to tear down Couple Stadium, sell it to real estate interest, play all their games down at Highmark. Highmark didn't want the City League there. Okay? The Passion were there for a little while. They had to go to West Allegheny because Highmark only wants to use that place for soccer and soccer only. Lacrosse and soccer because the Pitt lacrosse team plays over there. Okay? And Duquesne's lacrosse team or Duquesne's polo team or whatever. They don't want anything to do with anything, like football or any of that stuff there. The Riverhounds play there as well. Okay? All right? So what I'm saying to you is this, and that is the Maulers are going to have to find a location in order to play their games. And they can't play at Heinz Field because Heinz Field's too big. They're not going to draw. The only game they ever sold out was at Three River Stadium, was against the Birmingham Stallions. And the only reason for that was because Cliff Stout was playing, the former Steeler quarterback that everybody hated because he left the Steelers. Okay? So here we are with a team that is coached by a dictator. This guy is a complete dictator. All right? All right, De'Veon Smith. I played that tape again in the postgame because I didn't like the way Kirby Wilson indicated. And then he tells a different story on the postgame. All right? Okay, it's about the players on game day doing what they're coached to do. This is the comments that Kirby Wilson made. Guys come out of character and doing things they're not coached to do. Really? Really, Kirby? Oh, here's this one. Too much making up things. Well, first of all, Kirby, when things don't work out, you don't stick to the same game plan. Okay? You want to run the football all the time, but you can't. And what you're doing is you're shoving a square peg into a round hole, Kirby Wilson. That's exactly what you're doing. And you know what? That's why your team has only won one game, and they got lucky in that game. Okay? They got lucky. Your team got lucky. Sometimes it's better to be lucky and good. You have never been good, but you got lucky that day against the Houston Gamblers. And the Houston Gamblers have the same record you do, and they stink. Under Kevin Sumlin. The Michigan Panthers, they stink. They've only won one game. Yeah, guess who the one win was against? The Mauler'S. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm telling you is, the laughing stock of this, of this USFL, the big time laughing stock. It's crazy. It really is. Comment section's wide open. This is Mauler Talk. I'm Ralph Williams. We're live on YouTube and Facebook. You can make your comments anytime you want here. We're here. Well, we're not here. This is the last next week will be the last Mauler Talk, the season-ending Mauler Talk, because the season is over, and we won't bring this back unless the Maulers come back next season. So I just want to let you know that as well. All right. Don't forget to tune in tonight at 10:30 on the Sports Web Live on YouTube with Peter Blake. I'll be on with Peter Blake. No Mark Mancini tonight. He's got he's covering the Dodgers tonight, who just lost to the Pirates yesterday by a score of 5-3. Tomorrow we'll be talking about the Pirates. PCTV Channel 21, Comcast 47, Verizon Cable, Sports Corner Special Edition. We have a show called that we're coming up with tomorrow, the Mid-Year Sports and Review Show. It's going to be myself and Claudio Rosano, my partner Smoking Jim Frazier will be part of the show as usual. Claudio Rosano from the Boxing Authority, Steel City Sports World. Luther Dupree from Boxing Authority, Steel City Sports World, Al Levine, the Talking Machine from Pittsburgh Sportsline, Bethel Park TV. Also tomorrow, I have two very special guys coming on tomorrow, and you can watch it live on PCTV's Facebook page. I do my taping of The Way I See It, and then what I normally do is I normally will have The Way I See It is normally live, and then I record it, and then PCTV puts it on a rotating basis on the show. My special guest is author Dave Finoli. He's a local Hall of Fame author. Does a lot of stuff about local sports, the Pirates, and so on and so forth. And his friend Chris Fletcher. Both of them are going to be on tomorrow. One will be on Zoom, the other one will be on by phone. And we're going to be doing this interview tomorrow with them. It's a very special one because these are two guys who have really made a difference in sports in Pittsburgh with their books, their talk shows, and several other entities of things they do. We'll be talking with them tomorrow on The Way I See It. We also have Bonehead and something to think about as usual. That's tomorrow at 4, starting between 4, about 4:30. We'll be on live on PCTV's Facebook page. Check that out. And then at 6 p.m. we have the mid-year sports and review. You can also call in at 412-231-2288. It's the number to call. Tonight, 6 p.m., Steel City Sports World live call-in show. Claudia Rosano, Luther Dupree, Smoking Jim Frazier, tonight at 6 p.m. Their live call-in show. Big news. They'll tell you about it. If they don't, I will. And it revolves around the Steelers. So, we'll have that news for you today and later on. Tuesday, I'm working on a guest on the show. Tuesday, Sports Corner, 8 p.m. Don't forget Monday, 7 p.m. All shows, as you see on the ticker take here, live on Facebook and YouTube. So I just want to let everyone know about that. And today's streaming is brought to you by Mellon. So, all right, let's get back to Mauler's talk stats. Vad Lee, 426 passing yards. He has 3 passing touchdowns this year. Rushing yards, Madry London, 351 rushing yards. Garrett Groshak has 1 rushing touchdown. They haven't really used him much. They're trying to use this 1-2 punch here. It's not working for Kirby Wilson. I've said that many times. Receiving yards, Trey Walker. He leads the team with 318 in receiving yards. This week they play the New Jersey Generals, and I want to tell you the skinny on them. They're 6-1. They've clinched a playoff berth. Birmingham is undefeated. They have, after the win against the Mauler'S this past week, they're 8-0. 7-0. And the New Jersey Generals are 6-1. They've clinched a playoff berth. Their coach is Mike Riley. Those of you who don't know who Mike Riley is, he was once the coach of the former San Diego Chargers. As you know, they are now the LA Chargers. He's also had numerous college jobs throughout. I know he coached at Washington State, a couple stints, Nebraska, and a few other places as well. So he's been around. He's been in some of these odd leagues like the XFL, which is coming back next year with The Rock. From Dwayne Johnson, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, actor and former pro wrestler. He is bringing back the XFL next year. And this is what I mean about the USFL. They're going to have some competition next year for spring football. They also have the Major League of Football coming next year. And they already have 1 coach ready to go. They haven't announced the team, or they have announced the teams. It's on their website. I will be announcing those coming up real soon for next year's spring football with the XFL and the Major League Football. The first head coach is going to be Jerry Glanville. And those of you who don't know who Jerry Glanville is, he is the former coach of the old Houston Oilers and the Atlanta Falcons, and which are now the Houston Oilers are now the Tennessee Titans. He's been coaching in the college ranks, New Mexico State. He was coaching around also in some of these XFL leagues. He was in that that AAC league that the NFL had, that Hines Ward ran. That unfortunately didn't work out. They didn't even have a championship game. It lasted 1 season. They shut it down. That was in 2018. So, these spring football really don't last. I think a lot of people get tired of football, but you know what? There are Some of them out there. There's football junkies like myself that love to watch football. I don't care who it is. And if Pittsburgh has a team, I even more want to watch and get involved and do shows like this that no one else will do. No one else does a Mauler show like this. No one does a pre and post game. I'm not even paid by the Maulers to do this. I do this on my own time. All right. In case you're not aware, too, I am Pittsburgh's media forgotten son. And it's the truth. The media in this town don't like me. They won't put me on the Sports Showdown. They won't put me on the Final Word. I don't know why. I have no idea why they won't put me on. I can outduel some of these guys in sports talk more than some others, and it's the continuance of the same people. It's still the same old boys gang here in Pittsburgh. So, but that's okay because I've been on a lot of national shows, and I'm going to continue to be. I have a national sports talk show tomorrow night as well, 8 p.m. Blog Talk Radio 347-205. All right, 9631 is the number for you to listen to the show. You can comment on the show by getting on Blog Talk Radio / Mancini platforms, Mancini Media. All right, my guests will be, of course, Mark Mancini and Smokin' Jim Frazier, who is also my co-host on my Sports Corner TV edition as well. All right, let's get back to the New Jersey Generals. As I mentioned, 6-1 clinch a playoff berth. They won this week against Tampa Bay. And Todd Haley, there's another guy, has a good coaching staff. He's a good head coach. They lost 20-13. I'm going to go over standings later on in the show here. They have a two-quarterback threat, DeAndre Johnson and Luis Perez. Now, DeAndre Johnson did not play this week for New Jersey, okay? And New Jersey still pulled out a win, all right? What the Maulers are going to have to contain with this team is that two-quarterback threat, the two-headed monster. And they can run the football, all right? Maulers have a good defense. They're just on the field too much because the offense can't move the football. That's what the Maulers' main problem has been all year long, all right? Has been that their defense has been good, but they're spending too much time on the field. We all know what that's like. If you watch the Peach Bowl, the Pitt Panther game against Michigan State, you see Pitt's defense was on the field too much. It got tired out. Even got so tired that they got into a fight. Two players got into a big fight that nobody publicized. I have that footage, okay? And so there we are. I mean, that's what happens when your defense gets fatigued and gets too tired of being on the field too long. When the offense and special teams don't contribute. It's a team game. All three facets of the game have to contribute. And when they don't, that's what happens. New Jersey is a well-rounded team. So is a lot of the other teams in the USFL. So we'll talk more about the Maulers later on and what but right now, I'm going to give you what New Jersey has. They have a two-headed monster quarterback, okay? They have a running back threat in Darius Victor. He leads the league in rushing. Last game against Tampa Bay, he ran for 14 carries, 72 yards. He leads the league in rushing in the USFL. All right, so I just wanted to let you know that. He also leads the league in touchdowns with 6. All right, the standings go like this. The North Division, New Jersey 6-1, Philly 4-3, Michigan with Jeff Fisher. You know something? I have egg on my face because I was one of the people, and I didn't believe this. I had Luther Dupree on my podcast one time, and we got started talking about how the Maulers were going to get started. And I told him that Jeff Fisher was the coach of the Michigan Panthers. He laughed at me. And he said, "Oh, Jeff Fisher stinks." I said, "Oh, you know what? He might do well in this league. Sometimes some of these coaches can resurrect themselves." Well, I was wrong. They're 1-6 too, just like the Maulers. Maulers are 1-6. Both teams are tied for the worst record in the North Division. And I don't think it's going to be Michigan. I could be wrong. But we'll go from there. All right, the Birmingham Stallions in the South Division. They're, of course, 7-0. The New Orleans Breakers are 5-2. Tampa Bay 3-4, which really surprised me. And Houston's 1-6. They lost to the Maulers. Kevin Sumlin, man, he has definitely I don't know what's happened to him. He did well at Houston, and then he took the Arizona job. He stunk the joint up there, and things like that. So uh, that has happened as well. All right, let's see what the Maulers have to do to win the game this week. Okay, that they have not done. They can't have too many slow starts. Every game has been a slow start on offense. Okay, too many mistakes. They've been making too many boneheaded mistakes, penalties, dropping the ball on a kickoff, just dumb things. They can't make mistakes. They have to play a perfect game. Too much trying to shove a square peg into a round hole. That's Kirby Wilson. Okay. Kirby Wilson's attitude. He's got to change his attitude. He really does, about the way he does things, because what he's doing right now is not working with these kids. It's not working at all with his players. Excuse me. I said this at the beginning of the season when the pizza incident happened. Kirby Wilson's players are going to rebel, and they're not going to play for him. And guess what? That's exactly what's happening right now because of the way he's conducting himself. Poor play calling, poor game planning by the coaching staff. I tell you what, though, the Maulers do have, as I mentioned before, a good defense. They have to get the ball to Bailey Gaither. Last game, they didn't even look his way. Since Vadley's been here, he really hasn't been able to connect with Bailey Gaither. And Bailey Gaither at one point was the number one receiver in the league as far as pass catching goes and TDs and things like that. Okay? They have to get the two-headed monster running game going if they can ever get it going with Groshak and London. All right? Kirby Wilson, let the players play. Please, Kirby. All right? Quit acting like a dictator and let the players play. If this is not a prime example of what you've done as a coach and the disaster you've made of this team and the laughing joke that you've made of this team, because you've made a complete idiot and a jerk of yourself throughout this entire season. And I hope you're proud of it, Kirby. I really do, because I don't think it's anything to be proud of. I don't think so at all. I don't think the way the team plays, I don't think the way you act as a coach, I don't think any of this has gone on. And again, it all started with the pizza incident. You should have never cut that kid, Kirby. And then on top of that, you didn't even give the kid a chance to defend himself. He said something to you, and you were like, well, okay, I appreciate you saying that, but you're still gone. Because Article 46 says in a handbook that you cannot disrespect. Now, first of all, I don't know what really happened. I can probably find out. I don't know what really happened. That's between De'Veon Smith, that catering worker, and God are the only three people who really know what happened. Okay? And if this catering worker said about De'Veon Smith that he lies. Because De'Veon Smith said he was not ignorant with him at all. All he did was say, I don't need a chicken salad, and I have a problem with that. I don't like chicken salad. I want a piece of pizza. And the guy had just put the pizza out. It wasn't like it sat there and it was cold. He had just put the pizza out. And all he did was say, I want a piece of pizza. When he said no, he said, is that going to be a problem? And the kid shouldn't have said yes. The kid should have just walked away. He said, yes, that's going to be a problem because I want a piece of pizza. And right away, Kirby Wilson goes and just gets rid of this guy. And I thought that was the wrong approach because, as I said before, that you don't do it that way. But, here we are. Kirby Wilson's going to do what Kirby Wilson wants to do. He's got this attitude, and I don't care, and I've said this many times, I don't want to hear from you anymore, Kirby, about every running back. I don't care how many Hall of Fame running backs you coached. You are a terrible head coach. You have done nothing to help this team win any games at all. Your play calling is shoddy, your game plan is shoddy, and your overall routine is terrible. Okay? And I said this before, and I'll say it again. These players are going to rebel. They're just going to do the minimum. They're going to make their little money, and they're going to go home. Okay? They don't care about what you have to say because what you're doing is wrong. Maybe you need to take a look at how Skip Holtz coaches his team. Maybe you need to take a look at how I know. I don't care about how they coach their team. Well, they're winning. They're winning games. Don't sit there and say you don't care. They're winning games. They're winning games. That's the whole bottom line of this, Kirby, is winning games. Shouldn't it? Winning the championship. If you're not in any kind of sport to win the championship, you don't need to be there. All right. Also a note: all championship games, playoff games, and the championship game itself will be moved from Legion Field Protective Stadium, Birmingham. Now you finally lose all of your summer economy this year. Was the USFL? Everybody came to Birmingham to see their favorite team. You should have seen the Mauler'S games, man. They were filled with people. Oh, everybody wanted to go there to see the Pittsburgh Maulers. Oh, yes, they did. They really wanted to go there to see the Steelers. You know? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I got a better chance of getting struck by lightning than selling out a Mauler's game. Yeah. That's right. They're the laughing stock of the USFL. There we go. So, but anyway, as I mentioned before, championship game will be played in Canton, Ohio, at the Hall of Fame Stadium for the NFL. So, if you want to go see the championship game, and I've talked to some people, and they're interested in going to see it, it's only a little trip to Canton. Maybe take your family, visit the Hall of Fame, see the Steeler wing, because I heard they're building a Steeler wing because we got the most Hall of Famers of anybody in football. So they might as well build a wing for us. And so go there and see all the Steelers in the Hall of Fame. Make some time of it. Spend a few days there and having a good time. I know there's not a lot to offer in Canton and Akron, but hey, you know what? Try it. See how you feel. It's a nice little, what I call cheap vacation. A lot of people are going on cheap vacations this year because they can't afford the ones that are there. But the experts say I'm wrong. But you know what? Maybe not. But the championship game's going to be there, and if you want to go see it, go ahead. But Birmingham's going to lose all this money from all these people that came there to see all these games and visited Birmingham. Not that Birmingham's a bad town. I heard some good things. Tickets were only $10 to get in this year. So the fan base wasn't all that great having all the games there. It's hard for other than Birmingham because they had their own home team, which a lot of the fans showed up for those games. Okay, it was hard to have a following this year for any of these teams because they were there in Birmingham. USFL should have had this at their home fields. They wanted to try it out by having it at Legion Field to see what the teams are like this year, I guess. I don't know what their strategy is for next year. Will the Mauler'S be back? I don't know. I'm hearing they're going to add some teams next year. That could happen. Some teams could be taken out, like the Mauler'S and a few others. So we'll find out what happens, and we'll see what goes on. So, But anyway, as I mentioned before, the game is Friday night, 8 p.m., final game of the season. New Jersey Generals. I'm going to predict the score. I say New Jersey 30-34 and Mauler'S 10. Although the Mauler'S had a 10-6 lead on Birmingham in the first half, self-destructed in the second half. And then at the last minute, of course, Kirby Wilson's no good with time management either. So you see what happened in all the games with time management. This team is a mess. All I have to say in closing today for today's Mauler Talk Show is this. If the Mauler'S do come to Pittsburgh and an ownership group does take over, my suggestion is the first person fired should be Kirby Wilson. Bring in a coach like Marvin Lewis, who applied for a position to be a head coach in this league. Get him in here. Marvin Lewis is a good coach. He was great with Cincinnati. I don't see why he would not be a good coach here, or some other type of a retread coach that would be interested and would be able to coach better than Kirby Wilson. Kirby Wilson, you might be able to coach Hall of Fame running backs, but you cannot be a head coach. And that's a simple fact there. I am Ralph Williams. This has been Mauler Talk today. As I mentioned before, there will be a closing Mauler Talk show next week, and then after that, we're done until if the Maulers come back. I will be back with Mauler's Talk. Of course, your forgotten son, Pittsburgh's forgotten son, Ralph Williams. And I'm live. All my shows are live on YouTube and Facebook. Don't forget, tonight at 6 p.m., PCTV Channel 21 Comcast, 47 Verizon Cable, Claudia Rosano, Luther Dupree, Smoking Jim Frazier, Steel City Sports World tonight, 10:30. the Sports Web with me, Ralph Williams, Peter Blake, and we are Turnbuckle Talk. Have a good night and be safe.